Peace, King. How you feeling?
Good. Can you hear me?
Yeah, definitely.
Okay, cool. Let's roll.
Let's roll. Man, first and foremost, I just want to thank you. I truly appreciate you, coming on the platform. It's definitely an honor. You a legend, icon, you done made history, world history, Hall of Famer.
I appreciate it, bro.
Oh yeah, no doubt. Man, so for the viewers who may not know who you are, let them know what your name is and definitely let them know where you from.
Hold on. Are we recording now?
Yeah, but it's pre-recorded. I can edit it if you need me to.
Oh no. I was just something's coming through on my phone. This is
Okay,
uh this is Stevie Ray, former pro wrestler, right here. I'm living in Houston, Texas right now.
okay. Man, so my first question for you is when did you decide to become a wrestler? Did you grow up watching wrestling or was it something that kind of came to you later on in life?
Well, I think everybody grew up watching wrestling. I just kind of stumbled into wrestling, man. I guy opened up a wrestling school, and he was like, "Hey, man, guys, some guys want to come try out for a wrestling school." So we kind of like went tried out for a wrestling school, and that's how it all started. It was kind of just like something to do. End up being a
Wow, that
career.
oh right, y'all flipped it. A hell of a career for sure.
Yeah, so it was one of those things, man.
Okay. Now, did you have some earlier influence? Like, my era, we grew up looking up to y'all. Who did you grow up watching and looking up to in
I,
terms of
you,
wrestling?
I was just a fan of wrestling. I was just a fan
Mhm.
of wrestling. Period. You know what I'm saying? Like a fan of football, basketball, track and field, auto racing. I was just a fan. Period. I'd never had any influences by anyone. I don't know. I'm really not influenced by pro athletes. I'm kind of influenced by people from other walks of life. So
Oh yeah, that's what's up.
yeah.
I feel it,
No,
no
I'm
doubt.
serious. I'm kind of influenced by people like Martin Luther King, John F. Kennedy. People that have really moved people in a different kind of way. Athletes don't really do it for me. Nothing against them, but they just people to watch on television. You know,
Right. You named some powerful people, man. Most
yeah,
definitely. Big shout
yeah,
out to MLK. He
yeah,
changed the world and planted,
yeah,
some strong seeds. Most definitely,
yeah.
man. Okay. For the viewers who may not know or may not be familiar with you, what is your relationship with your tag team partner, Booker T?
Other than him being my brother, he's my brother.
Right. Wow. That's amazing, man. That's a strong bloodline. That's what's
So
up.
when you say what is my relationship, yeah, man, he's my brother. I mean, that's not, that's my family.
Oh yeah, no doubt.
But chances are anybody watching this do know. So I don't think we're gonna have
Yeah.
too many people that don't know.
Oh yeah, no
To be
doubt, no
honest,
doubt.
yeah, yeah.
Okay. But man, I was watching the I think he was getting inducted to the Hall of Fame and he
Hmm.
gave you a lot of props, a lot of credit. He like my big brother. He always had my back. So I want to thank you for sure, first and foremost, for setting that example for him and being behind him and pushing him,
Right.
because, if not, he might have ended up going into something else.
That's a possibility, and that's how things work sometimes. That's true.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Let me see. Now, what was the transition like going from the wrestling school to actually going to the WCW? Was that where y'all first started, or did y'all have to go to another league before that?
Oh no, we did a lot of wrestling before we ever got to WCW. Um, Wrestling is wrestling. At the end of the day, um, you're just on a bigger stage, just like any other form of entertainment. Wrestling is wrestling. You go through the trials and tribulations of trying to get to the bigger stage, the bigger lights. And you gotta know your stuff, and that's how you learn. Just like anything else, just like singing, just like dancing, just like acting, just like anything else. You got to go through the trials and tribulations to try to get to the top, because there's a lot of people trying to get to the top. So it's no different.
Man, right, no doubt.
Wrestling is no different.
Right, right. But
Yeah.
y'all put some work in, man, to be, as phenomenal as y'all was, obviously y'all worked very hard to get to that spot. And then when y'all got to that spot, y'all competed with the best of the best. So I wanted to ask you, what were some of your most memorable matchups? I know you went against Sting, Lex Luger, the Steiner brothers, the Nasty Boys.
Yeah, that's an interesting question because we wrestled so many of those guys so many times. But I remember the one match that really sticks out in my mind. It's the match we had when we went to that first Sturgis motorcycle rally up in was it South Dakota or North Dakota? One of those. Sturgis, South Dakota. I think it's South Dakota. And we had a big wrestling match there. It was the first one that we had done in Sturgis, and I remember that. I remember that match. Why I don't know. I guess because it was the most different thing we had ever done before. It was outside with zillion people with motorcycles around the ring and stuff like that, and it was crazy, man. So I remember that. But I've had so many matches in my life. I don't really. I don't know. I don't really think about matches once they're over with,
Okay, okay.
like a lot of people do. I don't know why. But I've had so many matches with the Steiners and with Sting and Lex and with the Nasty Boys and with, oh my God, Hall and Nash and so many of those guys, man. I mean, I can, like I tell people, I can't remember matches because I never brought my job home with me. But if I see a clip of it, then it all comes back to me, if that makes
Okay, okay.
sense. Yeah.
Yeah, definitely, man.
Then I can tell you about what's going on. Oh, okay, I remember this. I see. Oh, right. Oh, right, 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 right. And then things start coming back to you. But other than that, man, I can't. People send me matches now that I don't even remember. I'm like, bro, I don't remember this. I mean, I know I was there
Wow.
because I'm on camera watching it, but I don't remember it. It's funny, man. I'm not one of those guys. I got a very good memory, and people always tease me about my memories. Man, how can you remember things from that many, lyrics from songs or lines from movies and stuff that's 30, 40 years old? I don't know how, but I don't remember my own stuff that I was involved in. That's crazy. I don't know.
Mhm. Right, but I can understand, man. Like you say, you've been doing it for so long, and then y'all going to different cities and so many
Right.
different wrestling arenas and stuff.
Yeah.
Okay,
Yeah, it's funny
okay.
like that. So I don't know. But you can ask some guys because even on my own podcast, guys can sit up and tell me things day by day, inch by inch, brick by brick. And I'm like, wow, man, I remember that. Oh, man, it was in this town, so and so city, Iowa, and blah, 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 and this, that. Man, I don't remember what I did yesterday. And you talking about guys that can remember, everything they went through and who they went through it with. And I'm like, oh, okay. Yeah, yeah, yeah. I just go with them because when people ask me that, you get the answer that I just gave you. I don't know,
Right, I understand, but we was
man.
fanatics back then, so we remember them. You know what I'm saying? When such and
Right.
such be such and such, we ain't gonna never forget that. You done moved
Right.
on.
Right.
Okay, it's all
Yeah.
good. Now,
Yeah.
how did y'all get the name Harlem Heat? And was y'all always Harlem Heat, or was y'all
No,
something else before?
no, actually, no, we wasn't. We was actually, um, they wanted to give us the name of Chain Gang. They wanted to change everything about us, and that didn't work out. So they was like, well, you guys got to pick new names, and people started throwing things out and stiff that and the other. They want to call it Chicago Heat, and then I was like, well, now what about Harlem Heat? And that kind of stuck. And that's just that kind of stuck. So we started rolling with that, and the rest is history.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I mean, that sound better. Harlem Heat. When you think
Right.
of Harlem, you think of certain things. Shout out to Chicago, but H
Mm-hmm.
Harlem Heat. That sound
Yeah.
perfect.
Yeah. I don't know what it's Chicago, Miami Heat, Chicago Heat.
Yeah.
We're like, what about Harlem Heat? I don't even know where the Heat thing came from.
Mm.
I don't even know where that came from. It was like Dusty Rose. Who was in there? It was like Dusty Rose and Ole Anderson and Sid Vicious and just different people throwing out stuff. Where the Heat thing came from, I have no unearthly idea. I just knew the Heat sounded good, but the Chicago and Miami and all that didn't sound good, you know. So, and it was like, so that's how it happened, man. You just throw stuff against the wall until you something sticks, man.
I
Yeah.
can dig it. I can dig it. Now I got a question. Now they were saying were y'all the first Black American tag team champions? Is that
No,
correct?
no, that's
Okay.
not true.
Okay. Well, I want to ask you about y'all. Y'all did win the belts though. What was that like for you?
Well, you know, we had came from global where we were 3 or 4 time champions.
Wow.
So when it came from global championship wrestling, that was on ESPN. And then when we went to WCW, uh well, I can only speak for myself. I knew we were going to be the champions. I knew it. You know, it was just, it was just something that eventually that was going to happen, and we knew it. We knew we were the best tag team around there. We know, you know, slowly but surely we're going to be what we're going to become, and that's what we worked on, and that was a challenge to us. So when it happened, it really wasn't a surprise. You know what I'm saying? Like some people, it really wasn't a surprise because in our minds we were champions already before we even got the belts. So it was kind of like look at each other and go, you know, told you.
Right, right. Y'all made it look good though, man. For sure, for sure. Like they
told,
say.
told you. We knew we was gonna get them. Soon as we stepped in WCW, we knew eventually. Cause you look around at what everybody doing, and then we look at what we doing and go, okay, all right. We see what we got. We see what we up against. So when we finally got the belts, I think we got them from the Nasty Boys the first time. Wasn't no big hoopla. It was all in the cards. So
Okay.
then 9 more times after that. So it was like, wow.
Man,
That
that's that
that's
Hall of
something we
Fame
never.
talk.
Yeah, that's something we never thought we was do was get the belts 10 different times. We never thought about that.
Wow.
So it was just like a ongoing thing, man. So hey, man, that's how it happened.
Oh yeah, no doubt, man. Big shout out to y'all again, most definitely. Now I wanted to ask you, what obstacles did y'all face, if any, in terms of being one of the few black tag teams, and winning the championship and going on to win it again and again, from your perspective?
Professional wrestling ain't no different than nothing else in the
Hmm.
United States of America. Contrary to what people may think, professional wrestling, you dealing with the same thing you deal with on a daily basis or any other job or any other profession or so on and so forth. So wrestling ain't no different. The
Hmm.
thing is, I don't think about the obstacles. I think about what you got to do to make it to the top. That's my obstacle. My obstacle is in my head, and ain't nothing finna stop me from making it to the top. That's how I look at it. I can't even remember the matches like I told you before, and I can't remember the bullshit. What I remember is me going out doing what I got to do to get mine. That's what I remember. There's obstacles
Oh, yeah.
everywhere in every walk of life. If
Indeed.
if that mean anything, a lot of people think, when it comes to certain adversity, it starts and stops depending on what's on the marquee or what's on the wall as far as the name of something. No, this is America. This is America. As soon as you get off the boat, it starts. But what you gonna do? I don't bitch about it. I'm about it, and that's how I've done in every walk of my life. So
Hmm.
the obstacles are there. How bad do you want it though?
Oh,
Because
yeah.
this ain't pro wrestling ain't tiddlywinks. How bad do you want it? How much are you willing to sacrifice to get it? So it's obstacles on both sides, on the ones that's trying to keep you from getting in, but not only that, the ones that stuck within the medulla of your brain and your desire. How bad do you want it? Because yourself, you yourself and I can be your biggest obstacle, if that makes sense.
No, it make a lot of sense. Like they say, it's 90% mental. So how bad do you want it? You
How
gonna have
bad
to
do you
deal
want it?
with it
Yeah.
in any
If you
field.
can't, if you, exactly. So if you tough enough, if you focus enough, and you got the tools and you ready when opportunity knocks, if it's easy, it ain't worth it anyway. Anybody can do easy stuff. Easiest thing in the world is do the easy stuff. The hardest thing in the world is see a challenge and go say, I don't care. I'm still going for it. So your obstacle actually can be right in your brain.
Man, that's heavy. That's inspiring as well, man. I'm glad you said that. Now I wanted to ask you, I guess it was a big changeover, WCW, then you had the WWE. Did you actually go to the WWE
No,
what happened with that situation? If you
no,
could speak on it.
no. I just didn't want to go, man. I didn't feel like going through all the starting over again and this, that, and the other. So I went overseas. I took
Wow.
my career. I took my career overseas, and that's why I pretty much ended my career going back and forth overseas. Because I was started dealing with all the hoopla and politics of professional wrestling here. Overseas, everything was more freer. Plus, I had a business I was running here, so I couldn't be on the road, um, 300 days a year anymore. And I had my daughter was getting, older, and I wanted to be home more. My daughter was about 7. She was like 7 years old then, and so I wanted to be around my house more. So going back and forth overseas, and I had to open a detail shop on the west side of Houston. So it gave me a chance to do both. And if I was on the road here, I wouldn't have been able to do both.
Okay, okay, man, that's amazing. I travel a lot. I'm a world traveler. I've been to like 70 countries, man. I love traveling. It's a life-changing experience. And just within what you said, it was more relief, a little bit freer. So I wanted to ask you, what were some of the favorite places that you got to perform overseas?
Oh man, the company I worked for was based out of Australia, but
Wow.
we went everywhere, man. We went all over Australia all the time. Then we go to Japan, man. We go to Korea. We go to England, we go to Ireland, we go to Canada, we went to Mexico. We went all over the place for that company, man. So it was cool, man. I had a very good time working with those guys, man. Very good time.
Okay, that's what's up. I'm glad you
And
brought that up.
when I wasn't working with them, uh, the main company, I would get booked on tour sometime for like a couple of days. Like going to Puerto Rico or going to
Wow.
Mexico or something like that. Or some of the different shows, smaller shows around the country that's got good crowds, some of the independent organizations. So it was cool. It was cool. And I did that up into the late 2000s.
Wow, okay, okay. That's good to hear, man. Most definitely.
Hmm.
Let me see. Now you got a podcast. If you could tell the viewers what's the name of the podcast and where they can check it out at and all of that.
Well, my podcast is pretty much all over the place, but I also do it live on YouTube, uh, 2, sometimes 3 days a week, and it's called Straight Shooting with Stevie Ray. You probably can see the logo and everything behind me here. I'm in my office right now because I just got through doing a podcast a couple of hours ago, and yeah, that's and I also do another podcast called the Stevie Ray Experience that
Hmm.
people can check that out also. Me and my partner, Angel Corona, we do that one. I also do another podcast with Vince Russo that we call Black and White. So I'm all over the place doing podcasts and stuff now. So I do 3 different podcasts actually.
Wow, you still working? You put one. I'm going with one. One got me going.
Yeah.
That's what's up.
But like I said, I do this one in my studio here. I do Black and White. Me and Vince, we was actually doing that one when I told you I was doing one a couple hours ago. And that one is more diversified, and we talk about some of the black and white issues uh, that we, as a public and people here in this country, are dealing with on a day-to-day basis when it comes to culture. So we discuss a lot of things like that, and me trying to educate people of non-color, and give them some real outlook on what's real in our culture and not what you think you know. So I go out of my way to try to educate people of non-color on your ignorance. Not saying that your ignorance makes you a non-smart person. It makes you, it gives you a real outlook on my culture, not from a media point of view, from a person of color. So we indulge into a lot of that stuff, as well as a lot of playful stuff that we talk about too. So we're serious sometimes, but we kind of throwing around insults and stuff like that toward each other on a daily
Right, right.
basis.
But that
So
sounds like a real podcast, and I appreciate you using your platform to address real issues and real topics because a lot of people wouldn't do that. You know what I'm saying?
well, a lot of people are afraid to. Do I look afraid of anything? I ain't
No,
afraid of nothing.
Harlem Heat ain't scared of nothing.
You know what I'm saying? So if I know what I'm talking about, see, a lot of people actually know me from professional wrestling. A lot of people don't really know what my background is and where I come from. Well, that's what I like for people to know.
Yeah,
I like for people to know that persona. But when you get the real persona of what I really am, or who I really am, and where I really come from, then, oh man, I have a different opinion of you. Of course you do. Of course you got a different opinion of me because I just told you what was up. So we've had people come on the Black and White Show, different guests, and want to challenge me about different things that they didn't agree with, and then they pissed off when they leave. Because you don't know what you're talking about. Then when you give them the real perspective as to what things really are, they have to sit there and go, "Well, I never thought about it like that." Of course you didn't, because
yeah.
never be. I have a 26-year-old daughter, and I had to raise her, and I pretty much gave up my career to raise her the right way, not to raise her. Period. Raise her the right way, because I didn't want my daughter coming up in life, and even though she came up, never had any real problems out of my daughter. You look at the plight of things that's going on in the world these days with the African American community. Nobody wants to learn. Everybody wants to be a star. Everybody think they deserve to be a star. Everybody think they deserve to have this. Crime is like normal. Whenever things that are abnormal becomes normal in your community, we got a problem. We got a problem. And there's a lot of people out there in the black community that don't want to face these problems and speak up to them because they're afraid of the backlash. I'm not afraid of the backlash. I see things for what they are. Just because things are different don't mean they're all bad. When you talk about images, people don't realize images are very, very strong in young people's mind. Okay?
Definitely.
I was my daughter's age at one time, and I remember how images influenced me. And I'm not saying all images are bad. I'm talking about images, period. So
Indeed.
if you see the same thing perpetuated in your mind on a daily day basis, and you hear the same thing in your mind on a day-to-day basis, and as a young person, you really haven't learned how to decipher certain things, and you take everything is in as if it is the truth because all your friends are into it, and everybody you know is into it, and every magazine and every this and every television show and this, that, and the other. So what do? You start to live what is inverted. So when young girls see the images and the people, like you were asking me about influences, when you see the people that influence you, every day they look like they dress like a prostitute and they saying the most vulgar things in the world on a record. You don't think that influences people? Same thing with our young men in this country. When they see a guy saying the most vulgar things or riding in a video with dogs and guns and this, that, and the other, and blah, blah, blah. You don't think that influences you? Yes, it does.
Hell yeah,
Now,
most definitely.
some people might be able to distinguish between this is entertainment and I just like checking it out. But what about that group of people that don't?
Hmm.
What about those guys? So what I'm saying, you got to have a yin to a yang. Everything has to have a balance. So if you got this kind of entertainment over this that stresses this, you also got to have this kind of entertainment over here that stresses the opposite. If not, one influences more than anything else. And a young mind is at its most vulnerable when it's young because it has no direction.
Yeah,
So,
you're right about that, man. I mean, young minds is delicate. You could mold them to be an astronaut, a doctor, a lawyer, but if they at home after school watching music videos and movies,
right.
it, that's gonna rub off on them in
It,
one way or
it,
the other.
exactly. And I'm not saying it's the end of the world, but it becomes a problem. And when our problems become a problem, nobody cares. That's the difference.
And
There's no help. But when other people's problems become a problem, it's a PSA. You dig?
man,
So that's why I do a lot of the things that I do when it comes to podcasting. And you're just in the community uh, by itself.
oh wow, man, you done blew me away with all of that. You done dropped some knowledge on me, and I got even more respect for you. You know, as a person, like you say, I only know the entertainer, but it's good to get to know you because you have a lot to offer, a lot to share, a lot of knowledge and wisdom, and you being truthful with it. You know, your intentions is good to help
And,
those that are ignorant.
I feel there's only one way to be, but I just feel as though our leaders and our um, communities are not putting their best foot forward sometimes to make things better in our communities. And I'm tired of it, man. And I speak out on it a lot, man. And I get a lot of backlash from it, but I don't care. I got broad shoulders, bro. I can take it. Cause I mean,
Yeah.
ain't no punk in me, none. You know, I see the world because, like I said, I've traveled the world, bro. So I see the world, even though, like I tell my friends, I travel the world, so I don't see the world like you guys do. I'm not saying I'm better than you guys, but my perspective, my mindset is broader than you guys because I didn't seen the whole world from a whole different perspective. So when I started to go travel a lot and then come home, I started to see the United States from a whole different direction.
Yeah. Yeah, you
Then I
really get
start,
to see how racist it is when you go to other places and live
mm-hmm,
or visit, or
right,
even if you just take a trip. You know what I'm saying? You
mm-hmm,
really feel it. And you come
yeah,
back, and I know when I came back, I'm like, oh God.
mm-hmm, right. So and I got to meet a lot of people. Not only have I traveled a lot, I've met a lot of people in every facet of life, every sector of life, from politics on down, from big business on down, from the millionaire to the billionaire, you know what I'm saying? So, and it's like I told buddies of mine that I'm friends with to this day, there's certain conversations I can't have with you guys anymore because my mind doesn't run in those channels anymore. It's no disrespect, but my eyes have been open
Indeed.
because they haven't been where I've been and seen what I've seen and lived like I've lived. No disrespect to them, but there's just certain conversations like I tell them we can't have anymore. I don't like to have anymore because you're stagnating my progress. But that's how I think we all should be. That's just a growth factor. If you want to grow, you got to get out and grow. If you want to stay status quo, then stay there. But I ain't staying there with you.
Yeah. Yeah, fear is a factor. It keep a lot of people, in
Yes,
that box that they in. Just the
right.
fear of the unknown, not knowing what they missing out on. You know
You're
what I'm saying?
100% right. You are 100% right. So that's why me and Vince get a chance to talk about certain things. Um, and open people's eyes about a lot of things. Like today, he was telling me that O.J. Simpson was off probation.
Wow.
I was like, really? O.J.'s off probation? He said, yeah, O.J. is off probation. and you got a award at the same time. Because this past weekend I got what we call total package. I was one of the recipients at a big thing they had here in town called the Total Package Awards, and I was one of the people.
Congrats.
I appreciate it. And he was teasing me about it. You got the same thing with OJ. Because the first show we ever did, I don't know how familiar you are with the OJ Simpson trial that went on back in 1995. Um, the first show he and I ever did was about the OJ Simpson murders,
Wow.
of which he was very. It was the unknown for him, and he thought his audience would rebel against me talking about us talking
Even
about the
talking
OJ
about it.
Simpson
Wow.
trial because how emotional it is to different people. Well, like I told him, I don't listen to the media on anything. I'm not influenced by the media in any way, shape, or form. None, especially when it comes to social issues. And I've studied the O.J. Simpson trial. Like a lot of people listen to it from television and the radio and
Mhm.
documentaries and stuff like that. Well, I've read the real books from some of the real people that were there that really can put things together when they go deep enough. Now, back in 1963, Malcolm X said that the media is so strong it can make a guilty man look innocent and an innocent man look guilty. Okay?
Exactly.
So, and I always have had that in my mind because I'm a big proponent of Malcolm X, and a lot of Malcolm X quotes I have in my phone, and I like reading them on a weekly basis, not a daily basis, but a week. Whenever I'm thinking about something, I'll go to my Malcolm X quotes, and it opens my mind up, for some
Malcolm
reason
was
or
the
another.
man.
Yes. So when it came to the O.J. Simpson thing, so we did a podcast on it, and I started bringing up different things that people didn't know anything about. Because, like I said, you've been listening to the media and you've been taking them for their word. Because who is there to go against what they're telling you? Anybody that's got any kind of evidence to go against what they're preaching, I'm not going to let you on my show.
Exactly.
I run this. I'm not letting you on my show because you might make somebody believe what you're saying. That could start a snowball theory. So what do? You castigate the people that's got anything to say different than the narrative that you have presented. You see it
Exactly.
every day. You see it every day, man.
Especially now,
You
you better
just
not say
seen it.
nothing against what
You
they
just
promoting.
you just seen it with the Kyle Rittenhouse case. Did you see that?
That
The
was
kid,
the
the
young
kid
man
that
that
shot
went
the
to it.
two,
Yeah.
the kid that shot the two
Hmm.
guys in Kenosha, Wisconsin.
Yeah.
You seen that? If anybody really looked at that and knew what they were watching, I told people this kid is going to get off if you read between the tea leaves because it's a bigger picture than what you were just watching. But be that as it may, when it came to O.J. Simpson, it was so many different things that went down that people never heard of in the media. So on the show, I talked about all of that, and we talked about it for an hour. The next week, he dropped the video. 95% of every email positive.
Wow.
He
Okay.
couldn't believe it. 95% because it was so many people that was like, I didn't know this. I never heard that. And when I drove a timeline as to what they had been hearing for years, when I drew the real timeline, and me, I know how to do things and put it in perspective where it's kind of funny and kind of edgy. Cause I used to do commentary and all that stuff too. A lot of people don't know that's actually what I was going to go to school for. That I started school for, and I dropped out.
Wow.
I wanted to be in broadcasting and stuff like that. So
Wow.
it's easy for me to turn into Stevie Ray. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
All I got to do is just listen to somebody talk kind of mean and stuff like that. Then, okay, I'll talk mean. You know what I'm saying? Then
Right.
I give Stevie Ray a persona. Like, hey, sucker, yeah, you go when you come up. Just do that. But I don't really talk like that, but people think I do.
Right, right,
You
man.
know, I'm just like, I just turn into the guy, you know what I'm saying? So when people start hearing me talk on commentary, they're like, man, you don't talk like Stevie Ray. I said, well, I kind of talk like him. He didn't die. I still got him in
Right.
there, but he ain't. I just can't have him talking like he mad at everybody all the time. You know what I'm saying? This is Stevie Ray. He's having a civil conversation. You know, so that I
Oh
used to
yeah.
get that. I used to get that a lot, man. That people would say, hey man, you know, because they used to the guy that screams at the camera all the time. So
Yeah, no doubt.
they didn't know. I'm like, man, I used to DJ in clubs and all this kind of stuff, man. That's what you have to go into your DJ voice. Yeah, that was Marvin Gaye right there. You know, that you just turn it on, man. You know what I'm saying? That's how DJs
Wow.
talk. So
Yeah.
you just go into your DJ voice, man. I never knew I was training myself all these years to be, you know, a professional wrestler. But I had to train at
Yeah.
that. I had to train to do the Stevie Ray character also and come up with things. What would Stevie Ray say with this subject? So, but be it as it may, uh, we got so much feedback on that show that we had to do another show.
Wow.
We had to,
Part two.
we had to do it. Yeah, we got so much feedback because people wanted to hear more of things that they hadn't heard before. And like I said, I put things in perspective. But me and Vince have fun with it. And I'm like, you know, Vince, you know, like when Ron Goldman, you know, the kid that was killed with Nicole Simpson. I said Ron Goldman was a part-time actor. I said if people can put themselves in this position, think about when you were 25 years of age, and think about when you used to try to get ready to go out, man. Hey, man, we going to the hottest club in LA on a Sunday night. I'm a part-time actor. I'm a part-time model. Everybody at this club on Sunday night is in the industry in one way,
Mm,
shape, or form, or trying to move up in the industry or get in the industry.
indeed.
I got off at 10 o'clock. I walked home by 10:08 to 10:11. How long is it going to take a G to get ready to go do some real macking on a Sunday night? How long is it going to take you to get? Now, you've been working at a restaurant. You smell like uh, tomato sauce, bologna sandwiches. That's what you smell like. How long is it going to take you to get dressed to go mac? I'm macking hard tonight. I ain't but 25 years old.
Right.
Can you dig what I'm saying?
I
How
can
long is it
dig
gonna
it.
take you? How long is it gonna take you to get dressed?
At least an
Then you gotta
hour.
come on, bro. Come on. You know what I'm talking about.
Yeah.
This is the hottest club in LA. Dig on a Sunday night
Mhm. Yeah.
where everybody is, bro. All the producers, all the actors, all the directors, all the honeys that want to be actors, all the people that want to work behind the scenes, you know, this, that, and the other. You think I'm finna go take some sponge bath? And I've been working at a restaurant for the last 7 hours? Come on, bro. And they say the murders happened at 10:15.
Mm.
Dig? The murders happened at 10:15. Man, I'm just getting in the shower at 10:15. So how did I get killed at 10:15? You know, me and my dog, I'm borrowing a car. I don't have a car. I don't even have a car. I had to borrow a car. I'm going to meet my homeboy. Man, you know what kind of macking we gonna do tonight? So
Yeah.
I would put it in that context just to make people think. You see what I'm saying? I'm kind of acting it out. Well, think about it. I remember the days, brother, back when I was that age, man. Come on, man. I'm like, man, y'all got me messed up, bro. I get off from work, bro. I can't go, man. I got to be smelling sweet,
Yeah.
and I got to be fly.
You gonna put on your best.
Come on, man. You kidding me? Waiting in no line? Y'all know who y'all talking to? These girls ain't ready for me, bro.
Right.
They ain't ready for not tonight. And so I would put things in that context, and it makes people think, yeah, you're right. And not only that, when they did an autopsy, I got a spinach salad in my intestines. And I didn't eat, they didn't have that at the restaurant. So what did he eat at? He had to eat at home. How long is it going to take you to eat? How long is it going to take you to wash that bologna and that smelling all that gravy out of your hair? Get fly. Make sure you got the right stuff on. Mm-mm. Even if you sped things up, no less than, I would say, 40 to 45 minutes. No less. So, if that's the case, how could O.J. Simpson be killing people at 10:40 to 10:45 if he was supposedly running into his own air condition at 10:40? That Cato Kalin was a witness that said he testified to, where the prosecutor said he ran into, that was him running into his own air condition. Can't be in two places at once, bro.
Nah, no, you can't.
So that's what I'm saying. People had never heard it in that context before, but that's some of the stuff that me and Vince do. So when he brought that up today, we got a big kick out of it, man. So yeah, that's why I try to use my voice to make people think, man. That's all.
Right, just make them think, man. I'm gonna go
Yeah.
back and check that episode part 1 and 2 out now.
Right.
I'm I'm on the hook now.
Yeah. So I get a kick out of doing that. Not and even I interview a lot of wrestlers, boxers, MMA, even actors. I've had, basketball players on. I've had, boxing trainers on. I've had boxers on. A lot of the professional guys that I used to work with, so on and so forth. Some of the up and coming guys, MMA guys, and that's usually what my show is about. Straight Shooting with Stevie. That's usually what my show is about. But at the end of the year, I told people I'm going to start doing more serious content, and I know everybody wants to see me talk about wrestling and things of that nature, which I'm still going to do. But I had one of the House of Representatives, lady from Pennsylvania, House of Representatives from Pennsylvania, on a month or so ago, and before that, I had another lady on, Miss Jamie Wright. She's a
Mm.
survivor. She's a survivor of domestic abuse. So I want to start to do more content that's got nothing to do with what I usually do, but I want to try to show my range
Yeah.
and some of the things that I'm interested in that need to be talked about. So at the beginning of the year, I've already told my audience that I'm going to be tackling some serious subjects, and I hope they enjoy it.
Yeah, we need that now for sure, more than ever.
Yeah.
Most definitely. Let me see. Yeah, okay. So my last question is I ain't gonna hold you up, King. Let me see. Do you have any other upcoming projects? I know you talked about the podcast. Have y'all ever thought about doing a Harlem Heat movie or documentary or
Actually,
book
I'm gonna be
or
honest
anything?
with you. I wrote a documentary a couple of years ago that
Hmm.
but I was trying to get into place, and I was getting ready to cast people for it when the coronavirus hit.
Ah,
But it's not a documentary about people. I done seen enough Harlem Heat stuff.
hmm.
I'm gonna be honest with you. I'm not. My mind, brother, is out there.
Right, right.
And the easiest thing in the world is to do something that somebody else has already done. Like I talked about earlier. The documentary I'm talking about is an educational documentary with a wrestling theme to it.
Mm.
I can't really tell you much about it without giving up everything, but that's what I worked on, and hopefully I got a meeting tomorrow with some people
Ah,
that I'm going to see if we still can make this thing go, because I'm very excited about it, and it's never been done before. It's never been done before, and I'm very excited about it. And if I can get this thing off the wall, I'm telling you right now, it's going to be huge.
Yeah, man, I bet it will be. I look forward to that as well, man.
It's
It's
going to be
good
huge.
you
But
constantly elevating.
yeah, but it's actually a higher learning concept. It's a higher learning concept that I want to document. If you see what I'm saying, it's
Hmm.
it's like it's a project and a documentary all in one. It's a
Wow.
project that I want to put together for Houston Community College, but I want to document every step as to how I did it and document me, just me as a person, not
Hmm.
as a professional wrestler.
All right.
Me as a person and what I strive to do, what I strive to be on a daily basis and inspire people from that. Unless you knew the whole concept of everything, you know what I'm saying, it'd be hard for you to kind of grasp exactly what I'm
I mean,
saying.
I'm processing
But
it now, man. It sounds
yeah,
dope, man. I hope you do it, man. I look forward to it. You know what
yeah,
I'm saying?
I appreciate that.
Hmm.
Just it's more of a Stevie Ray short bio, but lifestyle. So
Okay.
pretty
Well,
pretty excited about it if I get the green light.
man, I know you're gonna make it happen. So I
Oh,
just
baby,
want to,
ain't but one, ain't nothing to it but to do it, dog. Like I say,
right,
ain't no punking me. I'm ready.
right,
I'm ready, dog. I just got to get the green light. This I don't like neck ball, bro.
right. Next, old school on them. But thank you again, King,
No
man.
problem,
It's
bro. No
been
problem.
a pleasure, honor. You know what I'm saying? Salute to the Harlem Heat legacy, everything
Thank you,
y'all done
man.
did,
Thank you,
everything
bro.
you still doing. So, until next time, family, Taye speaks. We out of here. Peace.